That just might be a good place to start our conversation this morning with Indiana Area School Superintendent Michael Vuckovich. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Mr. Vuckovich, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Wonderful. It's good to have you with us here today. High school sports resuming. The school schedules and calendars are back in effect now after the holiday break, and it's time to get moving again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's time. We're going to go slow to go fast, take a cautious approach. We have a plan in place, and we look forward to seeing how the plan rolls out and see what we can do to make sure we have a safe environment that allows our kids to compete in interscholastic and extracurricular activities. So, yes, today's the first day.
Yeah. Now, for Indiana High, of course, that involves the basketball, the swimming, and the wrestling teams. And hockey isn't a PIAA sport, but are they going to be back as well?
Yeah, I believe so. It's my understanding. We have a great subcommittee. It's led by our Director of Education and filled with board members and some community leaders and our athletic director. They're doing an amazing job really planning this course out to make sure we're clear and consistent with our families and doing this in a safe manner. So we're looking forward to sports season beginning, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And extracurricular activities, we've talked before about how important they are. So before we get into the classroom, let's visit that topic as well, because I thought your school and the others in Indiana County did an amazing job through the first few months of the year in still getting some extracurricular events in. Maybe they looked a little different than in past years, but they were able to do things on Zoom and in other ways that allowed them to at least have some sense that there's more to the life than just going to school and going to class.
Well, yeah, extracurriculars are a big part of a student's life, and we have an incredible group of teachers who have gone above and beyond to find creative ways to involve the kids and keep these activities going. Because we know this, research is pretty clear. Those kids that are involved in extracurricular activities tend to do better in school. So we want to make sure that we maintain them, that we have them, and we just do it in a safe manner according to the expectations set forth by the state. You know, our position, our point here today is not to decide or debate whether or not the rules or regulations we have to follow to are fair or unfair. Our obligation is to make sure we do it in the safest manner by adhering to the rules, and our teachers are just gone above and beyond, Todd, in being creative to incorporate these opportunities for kids to connect, right? Because there's the academic piece, but there's also that connection piece, that human piece, that kids need to socialize and interact with one another, and our teachers have gone above and beyond to make sure they do every opportunity they can to provide that for kids to connect, right? Because we're all humans. Yeah. We value relationships, and we need them, and we want to do that in a safe manner.
Yeah, absolutely. So your school district and all of the school districts in Pennsylvania have to do this. They had to file this plan to say this is what we're going to do in order to have in-person classes, in-person instruction in our school district. And I don't know that those plans vary greatly from district to district, but they do involve a little bit of change in the way that you operate, don't they?
Yeah, well, Todd, I'll tell you what, and this is a proud moment for us. When you looked at the attestation that came down from the state that schools had to sign, you agreed to two things. One, you followed adhere to the mask policy, which we already have and continue to do so. But secondly, that you agree to close based on number of cases per building. And the one thing that I'm quite pleased with or proud of, we had the intuition to build a plan that was very similar to that. So before the governor's ad came out with the attestation, our plan already accounted for that, meaning we would close based on the number of cases we get in each building. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is our plan already accounted for that, planned for that, and what you see what happened at the Department of Health and Governor was reflective of our planning that happened in September. So when that came down and we were forced to sign that attestation, there wasn't much change for us. We already embedded that as part of our health and safety plan. We were ready to go, and it allowed us to meet the moment and stay forward with providing opportunities for those kids who want to be in school to do that. So we are quite fortunate with our plan.
Obviously, a lot of thought goes into making those decisions, but there also has to be some outside consultation that will help you to form those thoughts. So talk about that, if you would, how you were able to fashion this using all of the information available.
Yeah, that's a great point, Todd. I think the biggest asset that we have going for us as a district as we operate as a team. With the administration, we work closely with our teachers union. We work closely with our board of directors, outside health experts, including some doctors from IRMC, and we look at all data, and we make an informed decision based on that data. And I got to give all the credit to the board for empowering us to be able to make those decisions as a collective group and to be able to plan together, because it matters, right? We not only do we want to keep everyone safe and secure, but we want to educate kids, and it's a fine balance between the two. And we've done a nice job working as a collective group, looking at the data and taking input from all stakeholders to make sure what we're doing is in not only the best interest of the kids, but it's done in a safe manner. And we understand it may upset people, but the fact that we only closed for 7 days in the middle of a pandemic, I think is quite remarkable up to this point. And we're quite proud of that. We couldn't have done it alone.
Yeah. All right. And I want to get down to the elementary school level because it's a whole different dynamic, if you will, when you're dealing with elementary school students who don't have the maturity level of kids in the upper grades and might not be able to adapt as quickly to some of the changes that are required of them. And for some of them, entering into their first or second year in school, this might seem to be the normal way that things are done. So let's discuss that a little bit, how the elementary schools have adapted, both in terms of the students and the people teaching them.
Well, I got to tell you, I think everyone's met the moment. I can't say enough about our staff and our families who have worked with us to set aside their feelings or thoughts about their mask, not wearing a mask, and said, understood, that realized that, look, if we want to be open, we have to adhere to these rules and have to adhere to these follow these regulations. And everyone set aside their own biases or opinions on the matter and said, look, if we want our kids in school, let's come together as a community, let's pull together, and let's make sure we do whatever we can to keep our schools open. And everyone's done that. And it starts first and foremost with our board of directors, followed by our staff. Our principals, our staff, and teachers have done an incredible job modeling the type of behavior we want from expect from our children. And our families have met the moment as well. This is a change. It's different for a lot of kids. But, our kids are adaptable and they're flexible, and this is another case that proves that we can, pull together, we can overcome some of these hurdles. And we've done so. And, the fact that we're open 5 days a week in grades K through 5 with social distancing and mask in place, we're quite proud of, because when we started this and we started looking at this conversation, first and foremost, we value all of our students. But if we had to prioritize, we knew that our most at-risk learners were our youngest learners, and we wanted to provide an environment where, if possible, to get them in 5 days a week, and we did exactly that through some real good planning as a community, and I'm quite proud of that, sir.
One of the interesting things to me about the elementary school dynamic is that in elementary school, even within Indiana area, those students are going to be really attached to one teacher through the course of their educational day. They might move to another class for a specific type of instruction, but generally they're with one teacher for the most part of their day. That requires a special amount of trust on their part, and so the teachers have to really work to build that right from the start, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I got to tell you, if you want to ask me what some of the ingredients of a great teacher or a great school look like, one of the biggest and most important ingredients that I think I'd call out is relationships. And I think what you said spot on. Our teachers have wonderful connections and relationship with their students that's built upon trust, care, and compassion. And that's what starts and defines Indiana. Then we get to the learning, right? But we want to make sure that first and foremost kids know they're cared for, they're loved for, and that we have a great environment here. And we may make mistakes, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say everything's perfect, but our mistakes aren't going to define us. We're going to learn from them. We're going to pull together. But one of the resounding qualities of the Indiana School District is the close relationships and the amount of care that our teachers and our staff display towards our kids. And that's where it starts, Todd, and everything builds from there. And we're proud of the culture we have here at Indiana School District. Whether
it's by choice or in some cases when it's been forced upon the school district to have a building or two that is going all remote for a period of time, the kids have to adapt to that. Elementary school kids will adapt in one way and high school kids in another, and we understand that. But how have they done in terms of remote learning and all of the technology available to them, but also making the time and dedicating themselves to it?
Well, they've done an incredible job. And, I think the other group we need to really mention here at this point in time is our families. When you have a lot of families working and their kids are at home, it's tough for everyone, but our families made it work as well. So I have to give a lot of credit to our staff and our teachers and the students, but most importantly, I got to give credit to our families. This is a team approach, right? The way to make this work is remote instruction. It's going to require a lot of work and will require a lot of cooperation, and we're doing that. Are we making some mistakes as we go? Absolutely. This is a new normal for everyone, but those mistakes aren't defining us. What is defining us right now is our students and our teachers' resiliency and resolve to really go through this and get through this and make it as interactive and engaging as much as possible. And I'm proud of the offerings we have. For some families, they want totally asynchronous offerings. We have that. We have a synchronous route for those families who want to be on that. And then we have, if we do 100% remote closure, all of our teachers are ready to go out and meet that moment. We provided our students with computers, one-to-one in a majority of the grades in the district. That helps, eliminate the digital divide. And it's working. And, again, I'm not saying we're perfect, Todd. I'm saying there's room for improvement like anything else, but we're really out there meeting the moment. and then the efforts there, and it's remarkable at all parties, but including the parents.
Talking this morning with Indiana Area Superintendent Michael Vuckovich about, here we come into the second portion of the school year. We really look at January as being the second portion after the holiday break. And I know you go in the 9-week periods, and there's a substantial review that goes from one of those 9-week periods into the next. And so there's probably one coming up, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, in regards to health and safety, January is quite concerning to us. We want to see what happens with the data and number of spread of the viruses as far as the number of cases, and we're going to, continue to monitor that on a daily basis. But on the academic side, we're ready to go with our classes, programming, switching. We're ready to go. Our principals and teachers have done an amazing job making sure we're ready for this transition, and we're going to do everything we can to meet the moment, and we'll see what the future brings us.
I wanted to ask you as well about something that happens generally when we get to the spring, and those are those standardized tests that are state required, and all of those things that fall within the general rhythm of a school year, and how disrupted those scheduled events are, and if they're going to be able to be pulled off in the way that normally they would be.
Yeah, I think you have a couple things going on here, and I think it's important to really walk through them. Number one, as far as the state assessments, my recommendation would be to put them on hold for another year. I think it does none of us any good to administer those tests this academic year. Now, however, with that said, that's beyond the scope of my understanding of the Department of Education or the State Assembly. This really is a federal requirement that came through and started with No Child Left Behind, and the feds would have to release that waiver. Now, I know recently the governor and governor authorized PD to submit a waiver for the standardized testing if the federal government would open that door. Now, with the new administration coming in, will that be a conversation in January and February? I'm assuming it would be and should be, and it has my full support. At this point in time, I think right now what we need to do is provide structure, stability, care, and educate kids to the best of our ability. Putting the stress or pressure of a standardized test in the middle of a pandemic, I think, does no one any good. But at this point, it stands. Now, again, we may see some changes here. This month, I'm going to pay attention and see what happens. You'll see some changes, I also think, from the state level regarding Keystones as a graduation requirement. There are some local things that can occur. But as far as the PSSAs as a whole and state testing as a whole, I'm hoping there's some conversation at the federal level that will trickle down to the state level and give the school district in Pennsylvania some grace, and it would have my full support.
Those things are going to unfold over the next couple of months. And also, we're going to begin to see at least the earliest stages of reaction to the vaccine and all of the hope that goes into that. I know that you and everybody else at Indiana area and all of our school districts hope that it takes effect really, really quickly. And soon you can get back to doing things maybe not the way that you used to do, but doing things where the pandemic is not the uppermost thing in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see some more communication come down the road, and I expect it to happen soon from Department of Health as far as what their plan is for Indiana County and the vaccines, and we're willing listeners. We want to see what's going on. We're going to pay attention, and we're going to make sure that we are a part of the discussion, so when it comes time and there is an opportunity to be vaccinated, then people are aware and informed of what their choices and options may be. And that's what we're going to do at this point. And we're anxiously awaiting to see what that looks like here for not only our district, but our county.
Absolutely. Michael Vuckovich, Superintendent, Indiana Area School District. Thanks for spending some time with us today.
Hey, great time, and please invite me anytime. I enjoy the time speaking with you.
Terrific stuff. Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Bye now.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160. On FM and AM 1160. On FM.